Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. You think no contact is enough. You think just ghosting him, blocking his number, deleting the text, and sitting in your pain is gonna make him feel it. Let me tell you something real, something every woman needs to hear and understand deep in her bones. Self-worth? That's not just some self-help buzzword or some cute little phrase to slap on a Pinterest quote. Nah, self-worth is your armor. It's your weapon. It's your voice when you ain't saying nothing. When you walk into a room and heads turn, it ain't just because of your looks, it's because of the energy you carry. That energy, that's self-worth. It speaks before you do. It lets the world know how you expect to be treated. It's the loudest thing in the room without you raising your voice. See, too many women confuse silence with weakness. They think going no contact is about disappearing, shrinking away, making themselves small just to avoid the pain. But the truth is, real self-worth don't run. It doesn't hide. It just doesn't entertain foolishness. When you walk away from a man who took your love for granted, it ain't just about breaking contact. It's about reclaiming your crown. It's about reminding yourself of who you were before he showed up, and who you damn sure still are without him. Self-worth is when you stop begging for the bare minimum. It's when you stop settling for mixed signals and start demanding clarity without even opening your mouth. You stop taking "I'm busy" as a valid excuse. You stop accepting inconsistency as love. And you definitely stop chasing somebody who didn't even realize they were standing in the presence of royalty. And the funny thing is, when you get real about your worth, you don't need revenge. You don't need drama. You don't need to make him feel bad. Because baby, just watching you thrive without him, that's punishment enough. When a man sees that you've upgraded your life, that you're glowing up, laughing more, stressing less, and ain't even thinking about him, that's when it hits him. That's when he realizes what he lost. That's when he remembers the kind of love he had, and the kind of woman who gave it to him. But by then, you've already outgrown the version of yourself who loved him. Now hear me when I say this. Your worth ain't tied to his ability to see it. Just because he couldn't recognize your value doesn't mean it wasn't there. It just means he wasn't ready to handle it. And that's not your burden to carry. That's not your problem to fix. That's his lesson to learn, and your freedom to walk in. You gotta stop handing your crown to people who ain't earned the right to sit beside it. You gotta stop lowering your standards just to make someone else feel comfortable in their mediocrity. Self-worth is knowing that love should never cost you your peace. It should never leave you wondering if you're enough, because you are. You always were. You just needed to remember it. So no contact. That's step one. But the real shift, the real message, that's in the way you move differently after it. The way you start speaking to yourself. The way you walk into your purpose. The way you show up for your life like you're the main character, not some side piece in somebody else's story. And don't think for 1 second that you gotta prove your worth to him. Nah, you prove it to yourself every single day. In the way you treat yourself, in the standards you set, in the boundaries you keep, and in the doors you close. Not out of spite, but out of strength. Let me tell you something real. Baby girl, healing ain't soft. Healing ain't just lighting candles, taking bubble baths, and posting quotes on Instagram. Healing is war. It's that quiet personal battle between who you used to be when he had you and the woman you're becoming now that he's gone. Healing is when you decide you ain't gonna be a prisoner of that pain anymore. It's when you wipe your own tears, fix your own crown, and say, I might be hurt, but I ain't broken. Now some people think silence is weakness. They think if you ain't yelling, crying, or begging, then you ain't really hurt. But let me tell you, there is nothing louder than a healed woman's silence. Because that silence, that's not giving up. That's choosing peace. That's walking away. Not because you couldn't fight, but because you finally realized the fight wasn't worth you. That silence speaks volumes. It says, I got me now. And that's what makes him feel it. That's what makes him sit with the choices he made. When you choose to heal, you're saying, I love myself more than I hate the situation. You're saying, I'm not gonna let this break me, because I've already decided it's gonna build me. See, it takes strength to stay angry, but it takes real power to let it go, to let God handle what you couldn't fix. That's when the shift happens. That's when your healing becomes your revenge. Because while he's out there trying to distract himself texting somebody new, going out, pretending he's unbothered, you're at home rebuilding. You're not just getting over him, you're getting back to you. You're learning how to smile without faking it. You're reintroducing yourself to your own soul. You're picking up your passions, refilling your spirit, and remembering who the hell you were before he came along. You see, real healing is quiet. It doesn't post updates. It doesn't announce the comeback. It doesn't need applause. But when you walk into a room, people feel the shift. They feel that strength. And believe me, he will too. He'll feel it in the way your energy don't chase him anymore. In the way your silence no longer begs for a response. In the way your absence becomes his biggest reminder of what he lost. Healing ain't about pretending like it didn't hurt. It's about admitting it did, but choosing not to live there. It's about recognizing the scars, but not letting them define you. And it's about finally seeing that you were always more than the way he treated you. You were always more than the version of love he was capable of giving. Now let me be clear. Healing don't mean you don't remember. It means you remember differently. You remember with wisdom. You remember with gratitude for the lesson. And you remember without pain holding your heart hostage. That's what real power is. That's what makes it loud. That's what makes him feel it. Because while he's wondering why you ain't reaching out, while he's scrolling through your page, trying to see if you've moved on, you're out here living. You're glowing. You're rebuilding. You're walking in your purpose. And all that time you were quiet. You were just preparing for your comeback. And baby girl, that comeback, it don't need noise. It don't need permission. It don't need revenge. It just needs you healed, whole and holy on your own. And that is louder than anything you could ever say. You want to talk about revenge? Let me tell you something. Your glow up is the kind of revenge that can't be ignored. It don't come with drama. It don't come with loud arguments or messy confrontations. It comes with success. It comes with peace. It comes with confidence so solid. He don't even recognize the woman he once knew. That's the kind of revenge that hits different. Because see, glowing up ain't just about looking good. It's about feeling good, living better, and not needing closure from anybody who couldn't handle your worth in the first place. When a woman glows up, she doesn't just change her hair, buy a new dress, or post a fire selfie. Nah, she changes her mindset. She changes how she talks to herself. She changes the way she walks into a room. You can see it in her eyes. She's no longer looking around for someone to complete her. She's already whole. She ain't texting first. She ain't chasing. She ain't sitting around waiting on nobody to finally see what she's worth. Because now, she sees it herself. And once you see it in yourself, oh baby, there's no going back. Let me be real with you. Some of the best revenge you'll ever get is when the person who hurt you watches you win without them. You know why? Because they expect you to break. They expect you to fall apart, to call, to cry, to beg. But instead you flipped the script. You used the pain as fuel. You got back in the gym. You started that business. You surrounded yourself with people who uplift you. You learned how to enjoy your own company. And most importantly, you stopped looking for validation from the same person who couldn't give it to you when you needed it most. You want to let him feel it. Then stop stalking his page and start building your empire. Stop asking what if and start saying, watch this, because a glow up is more than a comeback. It's a rebirth. It's the proof that everything he thought would break you actually built the best version of you. That's the woman he remembers at night. That's the image stuck in his mind when the new girl doesn't hit the same. And that's when he realizes he fumbled a queen. Now hear me. This glow up ain't for him. It's for you. It's for the woman who forgot how powerful she was because she spent too much time loving somebody who didn't love her right. It's for the woman who gave too many chances, who ignored too many red flags, who settled too many times just to keep someone who didn't know how to stay. This glow up is you taking all that pain and turning it into power. All that heartbreak and turning it into purpose. And don't worry, he'll see it. He might not say nothing, but trust me, he'll feel it. When you walk past him with that confidence, he'll feel it. When he sees your name pop up on his feed and you're smiling, laughing, living, he'll feel it. When he hears about you doing better, looking better, feeling better, without him, that's when it hits him. That's when he realizes he didn't just lose a woman. He lost an entire future. That's why your glow up gotta be bigger than revenge. It's gotta be your rebirth, your rise, your way of saying, you may have broken my heart, but you ain't break me. It's how you remind yourself and the whole world that your value was never tied to who stayed or who left. It was always inside of you. You just needed the right moment to let it shine. And now, baby girl, you shine so bright it blinds the very person who thought you'd stay in the dark. That's how you glow. That's how you rise. That's how you let him feel it. Without a word, just results, just light, just you. Let me break it down for you right now. If you really want to win after heartbreak, if you really want to let him feel what he lost, then you need to shift the focus. Not on him, not on what he's doing, not on who he's with. Shift the focus back to you. Because the minute you stop asking questions about what went wrong, the minute you stop trying to figure out how he could let someone like you go, that's the minute your power starts coming back. That's the moment the healing starts to turn into transformation. And baby, that transformation, it's gonna be louder than anything you could have said to him. You see, you spend enough time pouring your energy into someone who didn't know how to receive it. You spend nights waiting on a text, replaying conversations, analyzing signs, looking for closure in places that never had answers to begin with. But what you didn't realize at the time is while you were focused on him, you were leaving yourself in the background. You were forgetting your own shine, trying to fix somebody who ain't even trying to meet you halfway. But now, that stops. Now it's time to flip that script and give yourself the love you kept trying to give away. When you shift the focus back to you, you stop asking why he left and start asking why you ever let him stay so long. You stop waiting on him to apologize and start forgiving yourself for the things you tolerated. That's growth. That's strength. That's you taking your power back in silence. And let me tell you, there is nothing more powerful than a woman who finally chooses herself. Now look, I get it. It hurts. It ain't easy. But growth don't come easy. Peace don't come cheap. It costs you your comfort zone. It costs you old patterns, familiar pain, and sometimes the people you thought would be with you forever. But what you get in return, oh baby, it's priceless. You get freedom. You get clarity. You get to wake up in the morning and not feel like you're begging for somebody else's time or attention. You get to live without checking your phone hopping. He finally cared enough to say something, because now you're focused on your goals. You're focused on your joy. You're focused on your future. And let me tell you something. When you stop giving him front row seats to your life, that's when he starts missing the show. That's when he starts wondering why the spotlight don't shine his way no more. And it's because you finally turned it toward the one person who always deserved it. You. Focus on your mental health. Focus on your body, your spirit, your career. Focus on the woman you want to become. Because every ounce of energy you used to spend worrying about him, that's energy you can now invest in you. And when you do that, when you go all in on yourself, your whole life starts to change. You start to walk different, talk different, think different. And guess what? That glow, it's undeniable. That peace is powerful. That confidence is unshakable. And that silence is golden. And yes, he'll notice. One day he's gonna look around and realize you don't need him. Not for closure, not for comfort, not for nothing. And that realization, that stings more than any angry message or bitter goodbye ever could. Because when a man sees a woman who used to love him with her whole soul, now loving herself with that same intensity, that's when he feels it. That's when he realizes he lost more than a good woman. He lost a woman who finally realized she was the prize all along. So stop looking back. Stop waiting on a knock that ain't coming. Shift that focus, baby. Shift it fully, unapologetically, and permanently to you. Because when you do, you don't just let him feel it. You let yourself finally feel whole. Let me tell you something real. Sometimes the best way to make him feel what he lost is to simply keep going. Don't waste your time on shouting matches or begging for a man to see your value. He either sees it or he doesn't. If he didn't, that's on him. But what you don't do, you don't chase, you don't beg, you don't shrink yourself down to try to make him feel like he made a mistake. Now, baby, you let your actions speak louder than any words you could say. See, the reality is this. When you show up for yourself, when you make that commitment to not let his absence define you, you're already showing him what he lost. And here's the truth. When a man realizes what he lost in you, there's nothing he can do to take it back. It's over. It's gone. And that's the ultimate power. The quiet, steady confidence that says, I don't need to tell you anything. My life, my peace, and my success will do the talking for me. You want to make him feel what he lost? Then go out and live your life. Be happy. Do things that fill you with joy. Become the woman who radiates peace and positivity, because she's no longer carrying the burden of someone else's indecision. Become the woman who takes care of herself, not out of spite, but out of love for herself. And when you start to glow, when you start to rise and flourish, trust me, he'll notice. You won't have to say a word. He'll feel it in his bones that he let go of someone who was irreplaceable. But here's the thing. You can't do this if you're still looking back. If you're still stuck on the past, if you're still holding on to the idea that he'll wake up one day and realize how great you were, then you're robbing yourself of the chance to truly show him what he lost. Your future should be more important than his regrets. Your growth should matter more than any apology he could ever give. And when you stop waiting for that moment of realization, when you stop hanging on to the hope that he'll come back, that's when the magic happens. The truth is, people who truly love you don't need to be told. They show it, they appreciate it, they don't let you slip through their fingers without a fight. But when they don't see your value, when they fail to recognize your worth, that's when you have to realize it's their loss, not yours. And you don't have to yell it, you don't have to scream it, you just keep living your best life. See, what happens is this: the longer you focus on being the best version of yourself, the harder it is for him to ignore the fact that you're thriving without him. He starts to feel that absence, not as a gap but as a void that he can never fill. And that's when the regret sets in. But here's the key: when that regret hits him, you'll be long past the point of needing him to feel it. You won't need to say, "Look what you lost." Your actions will be saying it loud and clear. And you know what else? When you stop allowing yourself to be defined by the man who walked away, you'll see how much power you truly have. You'll see how much strength was already inside you, just waiting to come out. The world doesn't stop when one person leaves. Your happiness doesn't stop when one person walks out of the door. You keep living, you keep growing, you keep thriving, and when you do, you become someone he can never get back. Now don't get it twisted. This isn't about revenge. This is about reclaiming your power. This is about not allowing your happiness to be tied to someone who couldn't recognize it when he had the chance. This is about showing the world that you can stand on your own 2 feet and keep moving forward, no matter what life throws at you. You want him to feel what he lost? Then keep moving, keep shining, keep making your dreams happen. And when you do, he'll feel the weight of what he lost without you ever having to say a word. When he looks up and sees that you're not looking back at him, when he realizes that you're better, stronger, and happier than ever, that's when he'll feel the real loss. And trust me, that's the most powerful thing you can do. The silence will speak louder than any apology or explanation ever could. Let me tell you something. If you want to reclaim your life and let him feel what he lost, it all starts with you. You have to stop waiting for someone else to save you, apologize to you, or validate you. You've been waiting for too long for someone else to come in and fix what's broken. But the truth is, you've always had the power inside you to fix it yourself. You've always had the strength to rise above the hurt, the pain, the confusion, and the heartbreak. It's time to stop waiting for him to recognize your worth, because he's not the one who needs to know it. You are. You need to remind yourself that you don't need anyone else to be your hero. You are your own hero. Now, I know it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that your happiness is tied to someone else. That if he loved you more, if he chose you, if he'd just done things differently, everything would be okay. But let me tell you, the only person who can fix your life is you. You can't wait around for someone to come around and see what they lost. You can't keep investing energy into a relationship that drained you, wondering why they didn't love you the way you deserve to be loved. You've got to take all that energy you've been pouring into someone who doesn't appreciate it and pour it back into yourself. Because guess what? The world won't stop for you to wait for someone who isn't willing to show up. When you start treating yourself like the queen you are, when you start showing up for yourself the way you've been showing up for everyone else, that's when things start to change. That's when the power shifts from him to you. You see, you've spent enough time questioning your worth because of how he treated you. But let me tell you, your worth was never dependent on him. Your worth was always in you. And the minute you realize that, everything starts to shift. You stop feeling small. You stop questioning if you're enough. You stop giving your power away to someone who wasn't capable of seeing it. It's time to stop looking at the past and wondering where it all went wrong. You've done enough of that. You've wondered why he couldn't love you the way you loved him, why he couldn't see the beauty in you, why he didn't choose you when you were giving him your best. But the real question is, why are you still giving him so much of your energy? Why are you still allowing him to take up space in your mind, in your heart, in your life? When you shift your focus from him to yourself, you start to see the truth. You are your own hero. You are the one who gets to decide how your story ends. You are the one who has the power to rebuild your life, rebuild your confidence, and rebuild your happiness. Now listen to me. This isn't about being bitter. It's about being better. It's about understanding that you don't need anyone's approval to be who you are. It's about realizing that you don't need to chase anyone's love. You don't need to beg for someone to treat you the way you deserve. You deserve love, respect, and kindness. But more than that, you deserve to give those things to yourself first. Because once you start giving yourself the love you've been craving from others, once you start seeing yourself the way you should have always seen yourself, everything changes. When you start showing up for yourself, when you start living your life with purpose, when you start thriving without anyone's permission, that's when he'll feel it. That's when he'll see the woman he lost. But by then you'll be too far along to care. You'll be too busy being the best version of yourself to even notice he's regretting his mistakes. Because when you reclaim your power, when you take back everything you gave away, you'll realize that you never needed him to complete you in the first place. You've always been whole. And let me tell you something, there is nothing more powerful than a woman who knows her own strength, who walks into a room knowing she's enough, and who doesn't need anyone to validate her. When you stand in that power, when you live in that truth, you'll be amazed at how the world starts to respond to you. People will see the difference. They'll notice the change in your energy. They'll notice how you carry yourself with confidence, how you don't settle for less than you deserve, and how you've become the hero of your own story. And trust me, he will feel it. He will feel the void. He will feel the distance. He will feel the silence. But by then it won't matter anymore, because you will have found the most important thing yourself. And that's the kind of power that cannot be taken away. That's the kind of power that no one can ever steal. You are your own hero, and that, my friend, is what makes you unstoppable.